Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special morning edition of That Tom Clancy Show. I am, of course, your ever so humble host, Mr. That Tom Clancy. So, welcome at the bright and early hour of 10 a.m. here in the lovely city of Milwaukee's garage. Uh, Real quick before we get into the show, Nikkei is reporting that we are probably going to start seeing a new Oculus Quest sometime in the near future. Allegedly, it's going to be going into production this month. I think that's amazing. I'm a huge fan of the Oculus Quest, even though I've never actually touched one. So, Fictional Cat, thank you for joining us today. Good morning to you, sir. Well, my guest today is from one of those countries that we Americans are no longer allowed to go to, Spain. It's even more fitting that they're working on a game that encourages its players to go outside and explore. So, Bits and Pixels, please welcome me in joining Mr. Josema from Melbits Pod, Melbot Studio, Mel something. So, Josema, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
I'm
It's
good.
bright and sunny, and it's nice. The cicadas are a little loud, so let me know if they're bothering you, and I'll kill them all.
Oh wow, I think that's the first time anybody's offered to kill all of something for me. I'm touched. Um
My,
yeah, sorry. I'm just it's starting out as a weird day, so, you know, and then I'm already a weird guy. So it just kind of compounds on each other and grows into something crazy. So, well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would be a supreme dereliction of duty for me not to invite the silver medalist from last month's Pitcher Game Awards onto the show. So, uh, and on top of that, too, your product is very interesting.
Thank you. We put a lot of heart and hard work into it, and yeah, it's odd, which is it's a blessing and a curse. So, thank you for appreciating that,
Yeah,
and
I
thank you
mean,
for the silver medal too.
oh yeah. Well, in all fairness and in full disclosure, I don't vote. I when Liam brought me on to do podcasting and stuff, I right off the bat was like, I don't want to be in charge. I want to vote. I want any part of that.
Well, thank
Now,
you for whoever voted.
yeah,
Appreciate.
yeah. That said though, like the award show, all this guy. Yep.
Thank you, Liam.
So Melbits Pod. I mean, I've taken the time to go through the bulk of the material you provided me before the show. But for people who are watching who might not be aware of the game and toy, uh, how would you best describe it for them?
Well, the Melbits Pod is a smart toy that works as an incubator for the cutest little internet pixies that live in everything connected. Those are the Melbits. And the Melbits Pod, we designed it as a magical device that allows you to transfer them from the internet to the real world. And therefore, you can play with them both on your tablet or phone and in the pod, which is for the viewers and listeners, is it's basically an egg with a face that can transport those melbits, and it can absorb with three different sensors: light, temperature, and movement. With those sensors, you can actually like breed them, and you can bring the energy from nature into the pod, and therefore evolving them up to 400 and something combinations right now. And yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it feels like this weird combination of like Tamagotchi, Monster Rancher, and Pokemon Go.
That's correct. That's basically the pitch.
Nice,
But
I got it.
we sprinkle a little more magic onto it. But yes.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a trailer of it. The If you don't mind me showing it to everybody at home.
Oh, please show it. Show away.
All right, guys. We'll be back with you in I think about 2 minutes. So enjoy the trailer.
Meet the Melbits and the Melbits Pod. A tech toy with sensors that communicates with your mobile device. With the pod, you can catch and grow your very own collection of Melbits and so much more. Give them a shake, play with them, make them evolve from seeds and puppies to their adult form. Take the pod and your Melbits everywhere and customize them with thousands of toys and props. But that's just the beginning, because Melbits Pod is about blending physical and digital play. It packs the latest AR technology to take the fun out of the screen and back to the basics. Use nature to power the pod and evolve your Melbits. You can use movement, all kinds of light, and also temperature. You'll have to get creative to hatch the cutest gang and discover thousands of combinations. Half toy, half video game, the pod combines intuitive mechanics, creative problem solving, and the cutest creatures. Take care of your digital friends. Pet them if they ask. Feed them their favorite foods. Or make them dance. With this never-ending egg full of surprises, catch new Melbits and you'll always find new ways to evolve them. And when the day is over, you can set their bedtime so the Melbits can rest in their cozy home. Because you want your kids to use their imagination like we used to, but with a digital twist. Find out about Melbits Pod on Kickstarter. Back Melbits Pod. Play positive.
Well, I just rewatched it again, and I think my personal favorite part is there was a part or a bit where one of the yellow Melbits was running along a just a stone surface by like a stone planter with a little headband on, and I'm just like, okay, that's charming as hell. And then also to the kid who put their pod in the refrigerator, and I was like, yeah, I'd have done that as a kid.
That's right.
Hell, I'd do that as an adult, but for different reasons. But must catch them all. But yeah, so where did this idea come from? I mean, like, what are some of the inspirations behind Melbits and the pod?
Well, the inspiration comes from a couple places. One of them is that there's not a lot of stuff for kids that is smart and that is like really bridging what we're seeing. That is a trend, obvious trend, which is like these kids that are born with screens. They don't see a difference between a newspaper and an iPad. So the idea of like bringing the magic out of the screen and to the real world was very interesting. So we started like prototyping a few things that could have that physical digital element, and just the idea of like just creating a fantasy, right? Because when I was a kid and we were kids, we had a lot of things that were about how the world or the human body, or like just what happened behind the screen or inside the like cells, or just on the other side, right? And it was not necessarily just a world of fantasy. It was like the real world was already filled with magic, and we will get close to the TV and just look on the side to see if we could see what was happening behind the screen. So that idea, we felt it was like very like inherent to us and to into humans, and it was kind of like getting lost. And we love Nintendo. I think it's pretty obvious that we love Nintendo just by seeing the video and the Melbits and everything. But there's not a lot of small startups or studios doing stuff like that, just trying to bridge that gap. So we were like, well, the market is not saturated, and the combination of talents of the early team was very eclectic, because I come from entertainment and film and virtual reality My partner Ivan comes from industrial design and product and like physical stuff, and David, who is the creative director, he came from hardcore video games, and we've been playing and we've been friends for over 20 years. So it was it just made sense to create a fantasy with a lot of heart and narrative behind it, but that was a video game that was very compelling and fun to play, but that needed this physical element to be able to just to bridge the gap, to like go back and forth between real life and the screen. So it was not just another video game where people are just like um, sitting and just watching something, which I personally love. I think it's awesome. But when we started thinking about like that idea, and I think Nintendo thinks a lot about this kind of thing, right? With the Ring Fit and the Wii Fit and the Wiimotes and everything that comes to it, and we're like, there's something here. So we just went all in.
Nice. Yeah, it's you've definitely seemed to have hit the or be coming into market at the time where people are really primed for this. With the popularity of Pokemon Go, regardless of whether or not people say the game is dead, it's not.
Hmm.
Um, and then you also have the Harry Potter AR game from the same studio, and then they of course have their own AR game with Ingress. You have this like primed market who's ready for something that's meant to get the player off the couch and out into the real world.
Yeah, I mean it's just fun, honestly, because even prototyping, like we're in the office and like, well, we need to make a cold one. Where do we have, what do we do? We don't have a fridge. What are we gonna do? And like we just have to get creative, and just that element within the studio, like suddenly like we are all people like looking at a screen, and suddenly like we're not. We're kids playing, and just that part of it is like I want that. I want that for people to have. It's an interesting landscape, because not when you think about it, there are no small companies doing anything like this, which is, obviously it's just very hard for a company as small as we are. Um, but just because we're so small, we can do things that maybe an other company will have to like be like, I don't know if this respects the brand or this or that, and we can just be a little nutty about
Yeah.
it. And yeah, it's really cool. I think people are ready for this. I think kids don't have enough to choose from. And it's crazy because like we do a lot of market research in our own way. You just go to a toy store, maybe not now, but like in the near future when they're open again. And it's just very, I wouldn't say shallow, but yeah, maybe shallow is a word. And then you go to a video game store, and there's not a lot of things that just for kids. And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't play Call of Duty, like, be my guest. But what about girls? They don't. I don't know. I think there's a huge gap, that in years to come, there should be more stuff like the Melbits pod, and the
Yeah.
Melbit in general.
Well, you touch on a very interesting point there with the games available to kids, which a big part of it is that you have these instances, because previously I worked at a studio as a quality assurance analyst, and they made a lot of kids games. And there is this pervasive idea that kids are kind of dumb. And
Sure.
it's wrong.
It,
Like kids
mhm.
are very differently intelligent from adults. And, Melbits doesn't look like something that's pandering to that. It looks like it's something that's encouraging that different problem solving and intelligence. And, like, as I said, during the award ceremony, it's like you're making a product that for kids to take with them, and then so those places that they've gone also comes back with them in the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you are. I mean, that's the interesting part, right? Like, there's a world inside the screen that that even for us gamers, like, there's still a difference, you know. But you want to dive in, and then sometimes you want to come back and have some of that, you know. And you can see that just like in how many like figures and like toys and everything related to video games. So like we want that. We want the real world to be connected to that in a way that is smart. And it's not just like capitalism like running amok. It's just like how can you expand the imagination of a kid or an adult? Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the $1 million question. Even for just like straight education. It's like, how do you make kids and young adults and teenagers interested in expanding their scope of experience? And like a toy and a game that literally rewards them for trying things
Hmm.
is a great idea. I mean, you're saying, in the video, the pod is reactive to things like light and temperature and all this. And yeah, of course you're going to give these, like you tell a kid that this thing will literally change the internet sprites that you're introducing them to, or fairies, I believe was the word that you used. Um,
Wait,
yeah, so like hell yeah, man. Like,
no,
I mean, I'm on board, but
1 second. I'm
oh, no worries. Hi, Liam. Thank you for joining us.
sorry, I lost you for a second.
Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, fictional cat in chat asks, does it work in the oven?
Well, so we have a rule of thumb. If you wouldn't put your hand in there, don't put the pod in there. Yeah.
It's a solid rule.
It is. Yeah, it's sensible. The idea is like you're purchasing something that you want to last, so just don't burn it necessarily. Um, yeah, it's resistant. I mean, honestly, it can take a lot. It can take a beating, and it can be in the fridge for a long time. But the freezer might not be the best for the circuits, and the oven, as long as you don't go as crazy as to cook something, it won't cook. But if you cook it, it will burn just like a pizza that is and too many degrees.
I appreciate that you went with pizza.
Well, oven, I don't know.
Yeah. No. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I expected it. Like pizza just feels like such an American thing, and so thank you for honoring our cultural heritage,
Of course, of
even though
course.
we're no longer allowed to visit your country for good reason.
I'm not allowed to visit yours, I think, either,
No,
which is a bummer.
it's funny. It's like, yeah, we won't let you in, despite the fact that you have very clearly handled the situation better than we have, and you won't let us in because we're a bunch of diseased weirdos.
Sure. I mean, it's weird times, honestly. Actually, a couple of us passed it. I don't want to go down the coronavirus rabbit hole, but we're safe. We're good. Hopefully,
Nice.
we won't get it again any day soon.
At least in my house, we're safe so far. So we're hoping to continue that trend. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Stay safe. Stay
yeah,
safe, everybody.
yeah. Wear your damn masks. I want to go back to foreign countries.
That's right.
I've
I
also
want
never been to
my
Spain, so
country.
yeah, I've never been to Spain. There's a tattoo artist down in Barcelona, and I want to get a tattoo from her someday. So wear your masks.
So Tom can get a tattoo, please. Please,
Yeah,
guys, do.
yeah. I mean, I freely admit that it's a fairly air quotes selfish reason, but she does a traditional like hand poke technique, and
Okay.
I'm all for getting tattoos for various traditional techniques.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm a tattoo enthusiast. So
I have a couple, and I actually had one in Korea, and I thought it was a very normal, like just like run of the mill tattoo shop. but it has been definitely different than the rest. And actually, my buddy, that my producer who got the tattoo, his fell off because he didn't take care of it, and it was just so deep, and the needle was so thick, and there was so much ink, and it just fell off, and I feel so sorry for him. It was a tough experience, tattoo. So I understand a little bit of what you mean.
Yeah. I now have to hold on a second here. Note to self: investigate Korean tattoo technique after the show. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, that's just that's crazy. But so with the pod, clearly, it's not just a game and it's not just a toy. What have been some of the difficulties involved with designing this virtual environment as well as a physical toy to go with it?
Well, the not the most difficult thing, but one of the things that we put a lot of effort into is that uh, it's a separate device, and we all have like Bluetooth speakers and Bluetooth everything, and you just wireless thing that you have to connect to the Wi-Fi. And we didn't want that. We wanted something that was like so seamless that worked, just worked. Didn't have to be complex, but at the same time, you are constantly communicating between your phone or tablet and the pod, so it can have the magic, right? Because when you, for example, you take the pod, put it on the screen, and then it transfers. Like there's a little pixie that goes from the phone to the pod, and now the pod knows that there's something inside, and it's gonna make noises like the sprite that is inside, and then it's gonna have a little bit of weight and a little bit of like vibration when you shake it. And if you shake it too much, it will be like woo woo woo. So that all that stuff had to be absolutely seamless, and that's just it's just not the simplest solution. It's a very simple outcome, but what we came up with was that the pod connects with the phone and tablet through the sensors of the phone, because all our phones have these sensors for light on the surface, so they know how much brightness they need, right? So what we do is we communicate with that cell of the phone, and we send a Morse code from the phone to the pod, and from the pod to the phone. So that's how they connect. They pair up through Morse code in a black and white kind of strobe, and just coming to that, and different ideas that we have for the future on how to just connect things without pairing them. That was an interesting conundrum that I think works great. It's really really cool.
Pardon my language, but that's fucking ingenious.
Yeah,
Like,
you spoke French. Yes, I
yeah,
heard.
pardonnez-moi. But that is just, you hacked a phone sensor to transmit the data back and forth.
That's right.
That is freaking brilliant, and I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. We have other things that we've tried, and probably in the future we'll have different products, or maybe a new iteration of the pod that plays also with like the amount of digital like touches, like the touch points of the screen, and there are other things that could be done. That honestly, like it's just our phones are just incredible pieces of technology, and there's so much to just take from that we are never using at all. So there's a lot to do with like connected devices that start with the phone and then live in the real world. And that's I mean, that's how we started, and that's what we want to continue on digging.
That's just like, that is just nuts to me. When you said that there were you weren't, or you implied that you weren't using Bluetooth, the first thing I went to immediately was like NFC, the wireless pay stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's pretty instant too. And I'm like, but how would you access that? Because that feels like that's probably something that's fairly well under lock and key under most devices. And never in my mind would it have occurred to me to use one of the passive sensors.
That's right. Yeah, it's our Mike Miguel Angel, our main engineer, well, and right now our only digital physical engineer. We call him the ninja for a reason.
It's a fitting nickname.
Yeah.
Is his real name Donatello? Is he actually a turtle with a purple headband?
Michelangelo, that would be like, we call him Mike. We call him Mike.
Now your pizza reference makes a lot more sense.
It comes full circle, man.
Yeah. God, man, like you guys, like that's like the kind of stuff that Starfleet engineers come up with at the last minute of the episode to save the ship. It's like, we need to communicate back and forth. Well, let's use Morse code to type the code into the machine. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
God,
it's pretty cool. And actually, one of the things that not a lot of people know, actually, like 3 people outside the team know, but I'll give you the exclusive, is that we're planning on potentially creating some digital content, teaming up with a pretty respectable production company, animation production company. And one of the things that we're talking is that we could actually emit that Morse code at the end of an episode, and you could get special Melbits only for the people who actually watch the show, which is really cool too.
that just kind of broke my brain a little bit. I mean, like that, because I imagine you're doing this all in one of the lesser visible spectrums, or like towards the ends of the spectrums of light. So
no, it's a black and white light. It's like super rudimentary. It's like it's not. It's so simple, and at the same time, like you have to come up with it.
Yeah. Dang, man, that's not, I mean, of course, it's only a matter of time before people figure that out and then just like YouTube the clips. But but still, that's an amazingly ingenious way of effectively just putting a code at the end of the episode, but in a much more interesting way, because like nobody wants to go to a website and put in a code.
Sure. Or like take the camera out and they get the QR code, and then
like those were all really cool ideas when they came out, but like they require too much effort.
Sure. I mean, the idea is that you have your pod, you're watching your Melbits show or your Melbits content, and then at the end it's like, hey, the legendary Melbit blah 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 is right on your screen. Just put the pod on the circle, and then you just gotta jump and go to the screen and just put it there. And then when it loads, it'll be like doop 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 yoo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah,
and there it is.
Well, on a side note, we now know what Spanish Mario would sound like.
He was Italian to start with.
He was, but he didn't go yoo-hoo-hoo. I'm clipping that. That's going on Instagram. I'm telling you that now.
Oh, please.
But
actually, the patented Melbit like yeehaw kind of a thing is ha hoo ha. That's the OG Melbit sound.
Yeah, man, like every episode, like something kind of, not to go so far as to say actually meme worthy, but something worth calling attention to in social media happens. And I think this is the first time it's been like an audio thing. So
okay.
This is Fictional Cat, remind me after the show. It all happened at roughly 30 to 31 and a half minutes into the recording. It makes it easier for me to find them in post.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because there was one episode last week where the audience made me dab like somewhere around like almost a dozen times. and it was pretty easy to find most of them, just kind of scrubbing through the clip really quick. But there was one in particular that I spent like 30 minutes looking for.
Oh
Uh,
God.
and I'm just like scrubbing through the whole time, and I'm just like, where are you? So it's gotta have those notes there to make it easier to track it all down. But make Melbits become true. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that is an excellent palindrome name there that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce horribly incorrectly. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I thought the idea was cool when I was going through everything and I saw it. Now I'm kind of excited for this. This is something that I can play in addition to Pokemon Go, which I am a huge fan of, and longtime viewers of the show know, of course, because it's like I like games that incentivize doing real world things, and also it makes them a lot easier to sell to my wife, who isn't a gamer.
That's that's right. I mean, that's so. This is a fun fact or factoid. I don't know what. Anyway, so the thing is, like, we really had kids in mind, and I actually tested it with my nieces and nephews a bunch of times, and they love it. 5-year-olds it's a little too complicated for them, but like I have a 9 and a 12-year-old that are just all about it. And and then we did a Kickstarter campaign earlier this year, in the middle of the shutdown. Actually, like, we started 2 days before the U.S. shutdown, which was not good for the campaign.
That was
But
some excellent
yeah,
timing.
oh, it was great. Like, we planned it for 6 months, and we're like, this is the date. This is the date for sure.
That
Uh,
coronavirus was like, no.
no, no, 2020 vision, not really. But well, it did okay. We actually did okay. We had the what do you call it, the forecast was insane, and then it went okay. But the first 3 days we're like, oh my god, we're gonna break the internet, and then it was okay. It was good. We did 3x, like we got 3x what we asked for. But anyway, the funny thing is that, like, some of us were like, this is for kids, and actually I was like, you know what, I think a lot of people over 30 are gonna buy this thing. I think I'm over 40, I'm over 30. I know a lot of people over 30 that are just gonna be like, it's like Tamagotchi, it's like Pokemon Go, it's like this. I don't know, I'm into it. And in the end, it was like 65% of people, uh, they were over 30, and they bought it for themselves, not for their kids.
Yeah.
And it was, like we will love. I mean, we do have a bunch of fans that come from the Tamagotchi community, and it's really cool. It's really cool. Not only because they can buy more, they have more, like, purchase power, and that's good for us. But it's also because they can love it, and they can appreciate the complexity, and we can actually find, like, hide Easter eggs and, like, things for the fans that are, like, just really into it. That makes us really happy. And yeah, that's been interesting because, yeah, a lot of people who are not necessarily gamers are all about it. And at the same time, we had, like, kids that were like, this is my first Kickstarter pledge. And their parents were with us in some, like, live direct stuff. They were like, oh, my kid is doing their first pledge because they're so in love with Melbits, and we have the console game, and, like, we just want to buy anything with Melbits in it. And we're like, that's really cool that families are coming together, and it's not just the kid. Maybe the mother is really into it, and maybe the father is really into it. And that's really cool. And it's meant to be played together. It's really meant to have that thing where you're like, okay, some missions could be like, just pass it back and forth in the dark. And like, how am I gonna do that? Like, I don't know. You figure it out. You know.
I can't wait to see the Reddit communities that spawn up around this, because it's like, you know, it's just gonna be like great and hilarious and just so cool.
I know. I mean, I hope there's a lot of TikTok videos when it comes out of people just doing crazy stuff.
Well, assuming TikTok is still a thing, if all
Who
of
knows?
the European countries and whatnot don't ban them. But hey,
Hey,
yeah.
we'll see.
That said, though, you're probably giving those Chinese spies a wonderful idea as to how to get into a phone now.
Well, Chinese spies and Russian spies, if you're there, to all the spies, hi, buy Melbits pod.
Oh man. I wonder if I'm considered an accomplice in espionage now. Uh, no, I think I'm
Just,
fairly safe.
I'm here for the marketing, man. I'm here
Yeah,
for the marketing.
I'm here for the views and the likes. That's what I'm here
That's right.
for. Smash that subscribe button, hit that bell, all that jazz. God, I
Oh,
hate saying that.
oh well, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
it's for the course.
yeah. I mean, it's just yeah. I don't know. It's just like I think it's a generational thing where it's if when back in my day when we liked things, we didn't have to be told to subscribe to it. You know, we
Sure.
just did it. You know, but it's just part of like the zeitgeist of right now, I guess. Um,
I mean, there's a beauty. Like there's people like you, just creating awesome content, bringing people like me to the light, and there's so much stuff out there. The subscribe, like you might feel sometimes, oh my God, I'm just like asking people, and like just begging them to follow me. Like, but the truth is like they wouldn't find the content otherwise. There's so much stuff out there, and we get lost so easily that it's a system that makes you have more of what you like and less of what you don't like. So look, sounds weird, but let's embrace it. Let's appreciate that we're like bringing each other joy and like sharing interesting stuff. It's great.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. That is precisely why I started this show.
There you go.
Because like one and I feel like I say this every episode, and I don't care if you guys are bored of it, because I'm going to say it to every guest because it's the truth. I feel that my life becomes more complete by hearing stories of people doing cool things, people from different walks of life, from different countries, from different backgrounds. And I feel that I want to then share that with everybody out in the studio audience, because if it's good for me, then chances are it's going to be good for them. And then even if like I pick up a particular part of your story that is resonates well with me, they might not pick up on that part but find a different part. And it's just this wonderful feedback loop of positivity. And I mean, like, I don't like, would I like to make a living out of this? Oh, absolutely. This is so much more fun than going to like a normal day job. uh but at the same time, it's I'm doing this you know for positivity's sake. And then when linking up with Liam on Pitch Your Game, so then getting the opportunity to then even further kind of signal boost on that, like, hell yeah, man, like, that's what I'm here for. Because there are cool people out there doing cool things that I personally don't feel are getting enough attention. And my voice might not be huge, it might not even be big, but adding it to the chorus of your project, of the other projects that I feel aren't getting enough attention, helps them get attention. And that's what I'm here for.
And I hugely appreciate it. Like we need allies, and in general just help each other.
Yeah.
It's a small community in the end, like, and we help each other a lot in the studios in my town, in my country. I've worked in LA for 7 years, and it's crazy how like some industries may be very competitive, and just the video game industry in general. It's just a lot of cool people that are humble and want to help. So we need to help each other.
I think one of the funniest things that kind of came about was in the early to mid 2000s, how the games press built up this idea of a rivalry between the developers of Killzone and the developers of Halo. And they're all like, "Oh yeah, they're trying to just," and in reality, like the guys at Bungie and the guys at Guerrilla Games were actually friends. And whenever somebody would like show off their new game, they'd be like the first people in line going like, "Yo, this looks really cool. How'd you do that?" You know, and
Yeah.
it speaks to the community too. I mean, not to say that the community in game development doesn't have issues, as evidence over the last couple weeks. There are severe issues,
Sure.
um, which do need to be acknowledged and solved. But there is that level of camaraderie which kind of makes the industry as a whole, worth saving. There is a solid foundation. We just need to build a new structure on top of it.
Well, I mean, there are structural things everywhere. Uh, it's not a video game industry problem, and I think we're so young as an industry. There's so much to learn, and for example, I worked on Tomb Raider 2. I was part of the narrative side of things and motion capture and all the stuff, and I was surprised how there's so much to evolve in the video game industry because it just grew really really fast, and now thanks to indie developers, we're seeing there's a different future possible. There's a lot of creativity that is finally coming out. It's an industry that is like we forget that it's so young.
Yeah.
I've talked to people that were at the very beginning, and I'm like, you are not even that old, you
Yeah.
know.
It's like
Uh,
if we went from Thomas Edison's original silent, short films to Avatar in 40 years.
yes, basically, yeah.
Because we started at quite literally just black and white vector graphics, or not even vector graphics, like black and white squares and rectangles, and are now at a point where with Unreal Engine 5 coming out, where theoretically we're not even going to have to optimize our
Sure.
a lot of the workflow because the engine's going to do it for us.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
Like I believe it when I see it, but that's the truth. Like we transcended graphics within less than half a century. it,
Yeah.
it seems. We have like the Oculus Quest. The first one was awesome, and this one is probably going to be just mind blowing, and it just all happened in such a short time. So, like we have to understand that as an industry, although we had that aspect of evolution of tech, um, we're still building companies the way other companies have done it in the past, and that's going to change. And then you have people like Valve. you know Valve has no scandals because they have a completely different philosophy and mindset that only works for video games and only works for Valve at the moment. Like that horizontal idea of like everybody is the same and everybody can be at the top or the bottom depending on what happens on the day.
Yeah.
um, that's something that's like we're still experimenting with, and like we definitely experiment with that because we're very very horizontal, and any idea is a good idea, and if it's a good idea it goes into the game because we can afford that because we're small. um, the minute that a company is too big, then it tries to mimic the way a car production factory works, and we're not that, but that's all we know. So you will have a company with like 600 workers, and shit's gonna happen because we don't know how to operate as humans. Has nothing to do with video games.
Yeah.
uh,
We're
yeah.
not, an ant colony or a beehive.
No.
We're we are weird, silly bipedal apes And real quick, fictional cat, thank you for the cheer. Um, we are, yeah, and it's yeah, and it's so awesome when like getting a moment to go into like the philosophy behind it too, and not just the hey, this is my game and it's really cool, but like getting into the why, the real like the
Mm,
yeah the real substance of it. And
sure.
like another thing that I really appreciate too with the youth of video games as a whole is that unlike say film, we don't have decades of this is the way it's always been done
Hmm.
behind it. It's you know part of that is in because of the ease and accessibility of the tools, the hardware, the software. But in part of it too is that we're at that time now where people who grew up on Nintendos, who grew up with Tamagotchis and Pokemon and stuff like that, are starting to come up with that idea of innovation and invention core to their creative thought, philosophy, and personality. You
That's
know,
right. Yeah, I mean, something that is, I mean, it was interesting to us as a business model, because we're game developers. We've developed console games called Melbits World. I think it's free on Twitch Prime right now. So if you want a free game, there you go. So the idea of using phones and tablets, like when you're a game developer, you don't want that. You want just like this super cool AAA shaders everywhere, and that's great. Um, but it's not democratic. It's not really like for your mom or for your niece or for it's just this thing. And the idea of for example in China, uh, like millions on millions of people have played their first video game on a cell phone. That's going to be the native way for like half the world to play video games, and we need to save them. We need to make cell phone games really really cool and really something and really special, and something that is not like gluing them to the screen, but also like playing in the real world, connecting with other things, connecting with other people. And so that idea of cell phones like just separating us all, like we break it, like cell phones are gonna be there. So how can we make them part of the joy and the good part, the good part of technology, not just something that divides us,
yeah,
you know?
How do we make them an addition to the experience as opposed to a separate experience?
Yeah, exactly. Life. How can we integrate them instead of being that thing that people just like pull the phone at dinner and you're like you're an asshole. you know
Well, I mean, I am, but you know, look, no, I own that I am occasionally an asshole. I frequently ask myself the question, am I the asshole in this situation? And I am willing to admit, yes, I might be. But there's a difference between being an asshole and being a dick. And I decide I'm not going to be a dick. You know,
Amen.
yeah, I mean, everybody needs like I'm the lovable, sarcastic person that's in every group of friends. It's always like, but they know people like my friends know I've got them. I might make jokes at their expense, generally more at my expense. Longtime viewers, you know. Um, but I mean, it's always meant in fun and in jest, and it's everybody's got that friend. I'm not like that friend that everybody who says like the terrible things that everybody just goes, oh yeah, they just yeah them, but like yeah, I'm not that friend. I
It's okay. I mean,
yeah.
so far you've been really a really good host to me. So don't beat yourself so hard.
Oh, somebody's got to no. Well, Uh, yeah, I mean, you've been a great guest too. I mean, like, I feel like I always have a fun conversation on this show. And I feel that today's conversation has not only been fun, but it's also been uh, what's the appropriate word I'm looking for here, but has been thought provoking. It's been, not, like this show could very easily have been like, what's Melbits Pod? This is Melbits Pod. What's the toy? Here's the toy. But we transcended that and went into the why. And that's the fun conversation. Like that's why people come to watch my show, because I ask the deep questions. Mostly by accident, but yeah.
I feel like like Neil deGrasse Tyson should be on the other side. Ask, I'm bringing something about the universe in the middle of all this.
Wow. I'm like I'm taken aback here. I just got compared to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm clipping that and sending it to him. No, he won't watch it.
Just tweet it.
Yeah, dude, I think he would be a fun guest, I think.
Oh, I bet. I think it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think, like, if I had a dream guest, though, like, don't get me wrong, I like Neil a lot, but, like, my dream guest right now would be, are you familiar with The Expanse, the TV series or the book series?
I am not. And I've been told too many times that I should be on it, but I'm not.
I'm not going to tell you that you should be reading it or watching it, because you already know you should.
I know. No,
but I will say that the book series is without a doubt one of, if not my favorite sci-fi book series of all time. And if one of those two authors were on my show, I would die. Like, I would just, it would be like, I'd say goodbye and I'd shut off the stream, and then, or, like the show would end, and before I could shut off the stream, everybody would just see me like, and I'd just be done. I'd be done. It would be like the best show, but
hey.
One of them follows me on Twitter and they're aware of the show.
Well, if you're listening, Tom is looking for you.
I haven't worked up the courage to ask. But I am friends with the comic book author Greg Rucka, who was the writer of The Old Guard, which was turned into a Netflix movie that just came out. And I watched it this weekend, and I messaged him, and I was like, what do I have to do to get you on the show? And he's like, I'd love to. Let's find a day. So,
amazing.
Working on it. Greg Rucka, Old Guard, one day, soon, hopefully. And it's just, like, that's been the fun part about the show, too. It's just reaching out to random people and being like, hey, you got this quirky internet show. Why don't you pop on?
That's right.
Like, yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
A couple months now. Let's see. I officially started in May. This is like the third iteration of this show. The first two iterations were kind of DOA. And then I started in May doing one episode a week. In June, I started doing more episodes a week. And now I'm up to 4 or 5 episodes a week.
Damn. Well, I'm honored, and I'm sure it's gonna go really well.
Well, I had originally scheduled this day off, but when I reached out to you guys over Twitter, I was like, well, I'd rather get them on sooner rather than later, and I opened up this day that I had scheduled off, and made it work. So,
well, I appreciate it. This date is much better for me too.
Oh, hell yeah, man. No, it's like as I said earlier, you're a medalist. It's like, I got to do my part just for my attachment to Pitch Your Game to get you on the show. And if that means, coming in on a day off, I'm coming in on a day off.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The 10 feet I have to walk over here from my bedroom. But, well, I am unfortunately out of my on-topic questions. So unless there are any questions out there in chat, you guys are always more than welcome to ask them. I'll try and get them in. I know that we have been very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Our conversation has been heated in a very positive way, and it's been kind of hard to, oh crap. Fictional Cat wants you to do a dab.
Me?
Yeah. He redeemed his 500 points for it.
I'm not sure what is this thing.
Yeah. Oh, he did it by accident. There we go. Yeah.
Does
Awesome.
that count?
Yes, that totally counts because you did it, and it was visible on camera.
I was not really sure what you were asking me to do. When you said the dabs, just because I don't see your camera right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, I did it. It's my first one, and it's live.
Nice.
God.
Good job, Fictional Cat. First dab. And I do believe that's definitely our first Spanish dab. We've had a Swedish one, and now we've had a Spanish one. So
I'm honored.
Oh, and we had an English one. So yeah. Now
small step for humankind.
Yeah.
Big step for the Spaniard. Big leap.
Well, now it's time for the 5 questions. So the 5 questions, as I explained them to you before the show, but for everybody at home for whom this may be their first time at the show, 5 questions are 5 questions that I've come up with before the interview, which my guest has no idea about. They generally have absolutely nothing to do with anything that we've talked about leading up to this point. So let's get started. There is a bit of a theme this time around, and it is going to be interactive and semi-interactive toys from the past.
Okay. So is it like a quiz? Like, am I going to be scored?
I mean, you'll be scored, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Okay. Will I get a grade?
I mean, there will be a score. It's more for bragging rights right now.
Great.
All right. So, question number 1. Teddy Ruxpin was the top-selling toy of 1985 and 1986 in the United States. Which old technology did it use to simulate its interactivity?
Oh my lord.
And no helping in the audience.
What is going on? What's Teddy Ruxpin?
Oh, was that not a thing in Europe?
I mean, I was born in 1994, so
what? I'm older than you.
Wait, do I look that old?
No, but I assumed we were like much closer.
Teddy Ruxpin. I'm gonna go with like one of those things that you just like pull the thing and
the pull string.
The pull string, something.
Okay, I'm gonna let you know that is incorrect. The technology was newer than that. Teddy Ruxpin ran on audio cassettes.
Oh.
He had he was that bear with like the red like overalls and like the tan shirt, and he would like read books to kids. And he's
I don't usually feel like this, but you made me totally feel like a millennial that doesn't know anything before the internet. Like I feel so like I'm ashamed and I'm blushing right now.
Well, don't worry. The questions that come after this, well, not the immediate one following this, but everyone after this is a younger game or toy.
The Younger Games with Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah.
Played by... Okay.
No worries. Question number 2. The Speak and Spell was made by which company?
Oh boy, I'm sure this has a name in Spanish that is not the Speak and Spell.
It was the like red kind of like it had an old LCD display and all the little letters and numbers on it, and you would type it in and it would like in a supercomputer voice phonetic it out for you. So like you can make it say like type in like dog and it would be like dog.
I'm not sure, but this sounds like the kind of like Texas Instruments kind of stuff
And
from
you
the
would be
past.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the Speak and Spell was manufactured by Texas Instruments.
Oh Lord.
I know. Don't worry.
They had a couple interesting things.
Yeah. They actually just changed the firmware on one of their most popular calculators, so kids can no longer import custom code,
Okay.
which
I
sucks
didn't know
for.
you could do that, but
Oh yeah,
sounds like you have done it.
yeah. I haven't. I'm a nerd, but that's like a tier of nerdery that I have not achieved.
Oh my god, it's like hacking a calculator sounds pretty nerdy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had a Texas Instruments, and I definitely made my life in algebra and trigonometry a lot easier, but I didn't hack my calculator.
Not yet.
Not yet. Dude, people could play Doom on their calculators.
I've seen it. I've seen the
Yeah.
videos. I just assumed that just you could just run Doom on a microwave if you wanted.
I'm going to try it.
Please send me a video.
Oh, yeah. All right. Question number
Meme it up.
3. What
Right.
toy, released in 1996, was the center of a holiday shopping craze after its appearance on The Rosie O'Donnell Show?
Man, I'm just too not American for this.
It was, I will give you a hint, it was a fairly popular character on Sesame Street.
Okay.
Hopefully that narrows it down.
I mean, it narrows it down a lot. It's still a bunch of characters. And it's a toy. But it's like an interactive toy.
Semi-interactive.
Semi-interactive. Interactive. Also the Cookie Monster, just because it's awesome.
Close. The toy is of a fellow monster. It was the Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh, Tickle Me Elmo. That's right. I know a person in California who owns it. Showed it to me, being like, "Yeah, you're making a toy just like Tickle Me Elmo."
No, you're not
Yeah, I
making a
guess
toy just
so.
like Tickle Me Elmo. All right. Well, so far you've gotten 1 out of 3. That's
I'm
not
bad.
horrible. Oh no. I had a guest on here a few weeks ago who got 1 out of 5.
Okay.
I haven't had anybody
yeah.
who's completely failed yet.
Okay.
So you will not be the first in that regard.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, I mean, yeah, we'll see.
All right. Question number 4. It's okay. Following the Tamagotchi to market, the lesser-known Gigapets line was made by which company?
Oh boy. I was looking at Gigapets so much 2 months ago.
I completely forgot they existed until last night when I put these questions together.
We were doing that stuff. It was not Tommy, maybe.
Close. You got the first letter correct.
Is it European?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
I have no idea.
All right. The answer is Tiger Electronics.
Ah, God. They did so many handhelds.
I know.
Should have thought about it.
I played a lot of those handhelds, and man, we used to think games like Nintendo games were hard, but Tiger Electronics handhelds were just an entire different level of hating yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the original Dark Souls. It's like the precursor.
Oh my God.
It started it.
Tiger Electronics, or no, Dark Souls is the Tiger Electronics of video games. New meme. There
That's
we
right.
go. All right. Question number 5 is a two-parter. And if it makes you feel any better, nobody has gotten this one right yet.
Okay.
Uh, question number 5. Do you play Pokemon Go? And can you trade me region-specific Pokemon?
No, I am really sorry, but I can't.
As
I
I
played.
said,
I played
nobody's
for
gotten that one
2
right
days.
yet.
Got it. I mean, I could just bullshit and say like, yes, Kanto region, but I know it will be wrong.
It
Um,
would be. Yeah. I have played every day since that game was released.
right. No, no, I did play it. They played quite a bit for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, basically, I just couldn't handle it. I was like, okay, like I need to get out more. I need to go on groups. I had a friend that was very into it, and then I was like, I have too much work. Like I really can't combine this with my life.
I can understand that. I was lucky at the time the bulk of it having been out, that I lived in a place that was very walking friendly and I was walking to work. So it made for a very conducive environment to playing Pokemon Go.
Right. I remember that I was at the time where it's probably my first or second year in LA when I moved there. And for everyone out there who knows anything about LA, it's not a walking city.
Not at
So
all.
it was just a weird thing because then I'll go to Santa Cruz for just a day or two, and I'll see flocks of people going everywhere and going ape shit. And I was like, I kind of want it, but I don't know if this is okay. And I was back in LA, and I didn't. But I remember that day, like pulling it up and downloading it again and just like trying to go to a few places because it was really fun, and we did it with I was with a bunch of friends, and we really entertained it for that day. And I was like, this could be like really awesome if I could do it every day or like just consistently. Um, but yeah, no, I'm not that guy.
It's okay. It's okay. One day I will find somebody uh in another, on another continent that does play Pokemon Go. Ooh, I have a Brazilian guest coming up sometime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Maybe he'll have a Corsola for me.
On Mega Drive. They're
Yeah.
they're big Genesis.
Well, thankfully, Pokemon Go's on every phone, so I'm
There you go.
if I could cross my fingers, I would right now. But nope, doesn't work. Here, maybe if I turn my hand really fast, it'll look like it.
Mm.
Yeah, crossing my fingers, but
There's a lot of cool stuff in it, and we've looked at it for many reasons. It's just the complexity and the geolocation was something that we discussed for a while, and that's something that we might want to put into the Melbits pod eventually. But the complexity is just too much. It's just too much, and also like like basically Niantic is it's Google's company, so they have Google Earth all implemented, and it's just great because they can do that. But it's just hard for anyone else.
yeah. Well, uh, on that's sad. Me continuing to strike out on that question. I would like to thank you, Josema. Thank you so much for joining us today, and me tripping on my words. But where can everybody in the audience find you and Melbits on social media?
So okay, I'm gonna give you the whole thing.
Oh
So we
snap!
are we're at Melbits official on Twitter and Instagram. You
Mm-hmm.
can find Melbits Pod on Facebook. Melbits World, our first multiplayer co-op, couch co-op. It's out free on Twitch Prime right now, out on PS4, Switch, and PC. It's super fun. There's we have somebody made a video. It's on the like 4 million views, 4.5 million views. It's really cool. Recommend it. Really fun game. It's also out on a spin-off on mobile. You can get it on Android and iOS right now. And on iOS, we just updated it with augmented reality levels, which is super cool. And we just updated it like last week. And they look awesome. And if you like augmented reality, AR, it's sweet. I love that game, and it plays great on mobile. And Melbits Pod is right now out for pre-order, meaning not out, but
Yeah.
you can get it on melbitspod.com, and you can also get it on the last few days on Indiegogo, the crowdfunding platform, and it's gonna be out in stores in Portugal and Spain later this year. If not, if you are not in Spain or Portugal, you have to get it on our website for now. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Fictional Cat, who just like jumped in chat with like all the links right there. That's why I don't pay you to be a mod. That's it though. Fictional Cat is one of my mod team, and or as I call them, production assistants. Uh, I'm going with like the TV show theming, Um,
Hmm.
and he put together a lovely piece of fan art that when it's completed, I'm gonna like love to show off, because he sent me a screenshot of it last night and I just like lost it. Um, so
What is
well,
it about? What is the fan art?
it's I don't want to give too much away, uh, but it's a piece of retro entertainment technology themed for my show.
Cool. I'll 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 keep. I mean, I'll try to keep posted
Yeah,
on
I'll
what.
send you a link when I'll send
Please.
you a link when it's up.
Oh
Um,
well, I'm as soon as we close this, I'm gonna subscribe and tell a bunch of people to subscribe. So I'll probably watch it.
oh yeah, man. Well, thank you again for being here. It was lovely, and it looks like it's a great day in Spain right now. I'm jealous.
Likewise, I don't know if you guys can hear like everybody jumping in the pool.
Oh yeah, it sounds like everybody's having a great time over there.
Ev- Everybody's having a great time, and
Dude,
I
the
have to
birds
work.
are having a great time.
The birds, the cicadas are actually like winding down, which is great. There's like so many people having a blast in this summery day, and I have to work. But hey,
Yeah, I understand, but I got nothing. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join us today. Hopefully, this last hour and a half or so of your work has at least been marginally fun. And yeah, and I'll shoot you an email or a Skype message when we have this video uploaded on YouTube as well.
awesome.
So
Yeah, no, this has been great. That has been a blast, and this is actually like the stuff. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm working, and then I'm just having a great time for a little bit.
hey man,
So thank you
I'm
so much for.
working, but I'm marginally suffering for this. It's hold on a second here. Let me just do a little lifting my head up. Yeah, it's like about 25°C in my office right now. So I suffer for my art,
Oh man,
if you can
I
call
I
this
feel you.
art.
I feel you. I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. And it goes without saying, but I appreciate the work you're doing. And I appreciate the work that you all in the audience are doing. Even if I don't know what it is, unless you're doing something terrible, at which point I don't appreciate it and you should stop doing it. Um, well, I will talk with you again in just a moment, but now is the time where I switch over to this camera angle and I say, thank you, studio audience, for joining us today. You guys have been wonderful. Like always, thank you for the cheers, the bits, the dabs, the links, the questions, and jokes and memes and all that stuff. Just as a quick reminder, tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m., I will be hold on a sec, rebooting. All right, just a reminder, tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m., I will be talking with some of the members from Eloquence, the bronze medalist for #PitchYourGame. And Friday night at 7 p.m., I will be talking with some of the members behind Game Director's Story, one of the finalists. Don't forget, we're still holding open submissions for naming our duck here. Submissions will be open through Thursday night. I'll have a definitive time on Twitter later, and we will hold voting on Friday before the show, at which point we'll debut the name of the duck. And then on Sunday night, I'm looking to host our first ever community game night. We will be playing Unfortunate Spacemen on Steam. It's free to play, so you don't have to worry about like purchasing a copy or anything. I'll have the time for you tomorrow or Friday. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I look forward to seeing you all next time on That Tom Clancy Show. Have a great day, guys.